Hi there, I'm Tom Field. I'm Senior Vice President of Editorial with Information Security Media Group. Topic of discussion is mobile security. I'm welcoming to ISMG Studios Asaf Ashkenazi. He is CEO of Verimatrix. Asaf, thank you so much for taking time to visit the studio today.
Of course, and thank you for having me today.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit about your background in cybersecurity and why you joined Verimatrix.
Well, you know, when I started working on cybersecurity, it was not called cybersecurity. It was just security.
Exactly.
It's like, now I'm thinking about it, 20 years ago, I started
working. You were very, very young.
Thank you. You're very kind. So I started working on security on mobile phones in a company that called Motorola, if you remember them. They used to be the...
My first phone, yes.
Many of our audience maybe don't, they are too young to remember, but it used to be the iPhone of the past, Motorola.
Absolutely.
So that's where I started my career in working on security, and since then, as you said, I moved to Verimatrix. And the reason that I joined Verimatrix is because I wanted to create something new, something that is not here today, that I know that will be a solution that will solve a problem that is coming. And I didn't want to just do what others are doing. I wanted to create something completely new.
Well, you did it at a good time because the mobile threat landscape has just increased exponentially in the past 3 years or so. What would you say are the emerging threats in mobile security today? What's changed in the field since the Motorola days? And why do defenders have such a hard time keeping up with the adversaries and their, if not evolving tactics, their increasing tactics?
So let's start with what changed. So I think if you look at what hackers are doing, they always find a way and the easy way to get in.
Right.
So in the past, they had many ways to get in. But as we start to block, and the security industry came with solutions, with EDR, with protecting the end devices of employees, BYOD, they have less and less places that they can get into. So they always look, well, where can we find a place or an area that is still not covered, and can we utilize it? And this is where they found the mobile apps that are running on our phones. So today, our phone is not like you mentioned Motorola, where you use the phone to just dial and maybe send a text using keyboards.
Today, or a little stylus.
Yeah, for one letter you had to press 3 times sometimes. But today, it's a much more sophisticated device. Yeah. But it's not just the sophistication of the device. It's what we do and how fundamental it is for us as users and for the businesses that are using it to communicate with their consumers. Think about it. What do you do? Or let me ask it a different way. If you lose your phone, you cannot board to your flight. You cannot access your bank account. You don't know how to navigate if you're in a foreign country.
Right. Foreign country, my own.
Yes, exactly. But everything that we do today, every business that we communicate with, is usually through an application. And this is a big risk for the businesses. And what the hackers are doing is finding the way through the application to have various attacks.
Okay, so knowing this, Asaf, why are mobile apps still so susceptible to compromise?
I think because it's not being looked, or a lot of the CISO believe that this is an area that is outside of their responsibility. There is also the misconception that Apple and Google are responsible for the security of the applications. Now, don't get me wrong. They are doing good security on their devices.
Right.
But their goal and what they can do is to protect the environment, which means that they protect and make sure that an application does not attack the phone or the operating system, which they own, or does not attack other applications. What hackers found out that, hey, if I can attack just the application itself and change it, and it doesn't violate any of the rules, is it a problem? No. Actually, Apple or Google cannot know. Let's say that your application is compromised. You're a bank, and instead of sending the data to the bank, your application decides to send the data also to another IP address. Is it the responsibility of Google to know what you're doing in your application? Is it the responsibility of Apple to know where the data goes? No, it's your responsibility. And people do not always understand that. And it becomes easier to attack this application because especially in application, people do not pay attention to the quality of the code and for making sure that it's secure. And hackers are saying, they're putting one and one and saying, well, first, it's easy. Second, there are no solution protecting against it. Why going through all the great security solutions just to, if I can do it from here?
So no surprise, Verimatrix has released products and solutions to deal with these types of issues. What can you tell me about your new XTD?
So the XTD, or Extended Threat Defense, is the new solution for providing overall protection of the apps. But it's not just the apps, it's the connection to the backend. So, or to the application server, because hackers also find a way to use the application to attack actually the service. So they have different protection. The first layers of protection is protecting the app itself on the device, where we are doing it with a zero-code technology, which is very unique to what we do.
Yes.
It means that you don't need to build SDKs and work. You can just take the file of the application after it is already done and protect it in a few minutes. And that will make it very difficult for hackers to find any vulnerabilities or to even understand how your application is working.
Yep.
Right? This is through technologies like code obfuscation and self-protection. But then, that's not enough. We are monitoring what's going on the application and the environment of the application, and that sends to our server. And our services that are now connected to millions of devices analyze this data, and we find anomalies in the way that the application behaves.
Sure.
Now, there are many solutions that are doing it, but they are doing it from watching the phone from the server. We are the only ones that have actually hooks on the application that can send us this information. Now, given that we have customers from about, I think now 40 countries, and with different industries, we have customers from the automotive industry, from the health insurance, from banking, from media. We get to see different attacks, and we can already prepare for them when they are coming to others. Now, it's not a secret that we are using AI and machine learning. Everybody now will tell you, you will walk on the show floor of the RSA, you will find that any company is doing it. I want to make it very clear how we do it, because we are doing it in a different way of what others sometimes say. Right. We use AI as a tool. It's a tool for the engineering, which means that the AI does not decide for the customers what is malicious or not. It's help our research to identify things that are weird, and then our research are investigating and becoming it as part of the rules of the solution that we have. So the AI is very important for our product, but it's a tool. It's not what the product is, like many others that are saying everything is based on the AI.
We have to make this qualification now. Now, is this what differentiates you from other products and solutions in the marketplace?
So I think what differentiates us is several things. It's the combination of all of these things. So the first one is that we can deploy that on the application very fast. You don't need to work with the engineer of the developers to put a library that they need to integrate. It's like I can literally take the application from the App Store and protect it in 5 minutes. So that's very important, the differentiation. Second one is the ability to get this data and very rich data to our cloud and to monitor it and to provide ratings of the risk of each application in real time when they are logging in. And the third one is the ability or the amount of devices and data that we already have that gives us a lot of advantage over the others. And if you look at that, we have the biggest banks in the world.
Right.
And as I mentioned, a lot of big customers that I think puts us ahead of the others. And then there are minor things like how robust our solution, company that's been in the market for 18 years, that has a reputation, big reputation. We are a public company. So there are all of these small things, but that's the main of it.
Quick question. For someone that wants to know more about emerging mobile threats and solutions, where can they go?
Well, they can go to our website, of course, and we have new websites that we launched with very matrixed labs that they can find more about new attacks, what's going on, what the attack surface. It is very important for us to make sure that the industry aware of this problem. And you know what? If just by this video we can get people to be aware, even if they don't buy our products.
Sure.
I'll be happy even if they don't buy our product and buy our competitors. I think they will be making a mistake, but still, if they buy it,
yeah.
I know that we did our job. Why? Because this is an emerging risk, an emerging problem that the industry is not aware of. There is plenty of business for everyone. Yes. And this is why I'm also happy if our competitors will grow with that. And as if we can explain the problems, I know that we can protect more and more businesses from this new risk.
Well, you make a good point, because this is exploding underneath us, and it's going to be an issue that's going to haunt generations. Where do you see mobile security going next as someone that's been around in the field for quite some time?
Well, I think this is where they go, is to understand or to try to exploit the value that is there. Mm-hmm. And the value today is not by the device itself. It's the connection of the app to the service and what information is being used in this application. This information can be stolen, can be modified, or can be used to attack the service that is connected to it. So if you think about just your phone, what information you give it. I'm not talking about application that maybe sniff of it. I'm saying that you willingly give it. It's today it's your entire life. Whatever you do today, you're doing through your mobile phone. Right. Even now, checking to the hotel, health, people use it to have a remote session with their therapists,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So it's everything. It's just natural that we'll say, okay, if this is the most valuable piece of technology that I'm holding in terms of how close it to my day-to-day life and my personal information, it just makes sense that it needs to be protected. And as I mentioned, there are the big companies that are doing the work of protecting the phone. But when it comes to the application, do you know what is the level of security of each application that you're using?
I know the answer to that, no.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Well
and many of the companies that have this application that outsource the development of that, I'll tell you a secret. Don't tell anyone.
No, that's not much of a secret.
They sometimes, we know with the supply chain of
yes.
software,
yes.
Sometimes they don't know. Even they're big companies, yeah. They don't know where the code came from, right. Or who actually developed that. And when we do also analysis of the code of applications, again, I'll tell you a secret. Don't tell anyone.
Open source is a whole new
I hope nobody hears
conversation.
that, right? But this code that we analyze, sometimes we see amazing things, like even comments in the code, like saying, this is the key, or like equivalent of this is the key that is being used. So that's very important, that even big companies will be aware that they have a blind spot.
Excellent. Asaf, thank you so much for your time and insight today.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Again, the topic has been mobile security. You just heard from Asaf Ashkenazi. He's the CEO of Verimatrix. For Information Security Media Group, I'm Tom Field. Thank you for giving us your time and attention today.